What is going on, you guys? My name is Rage and we are back today with a beginner video guide for you all. In today's video, we're going through some tips and tricks that you can go through in terms of streamlining your overall game experience and as well as maximizing the benefits and efficiency in the long haul. So that being said, this video is really intended for beginners or those of you who are newer to the game, transitioning to the mid game. Things you may or may not know, but best to always reflect on these and refresh if anything's changed. So start things off here, you guys. Gold currency right now in the top that you can see, I got 62 million, and this is one of the hardest constraints in the game. I haven't had issues in the past, but that's also because of effective management. So what have I done that's actually helped is for me, as you can see here, when you click the gold orb there, it actually opens it to this orb chamber where you can actually open these orbs that you collect from just playing the game, going through challenges, day-to-day progression. And you can see here I got 19 orbs that I've not opened. For me, if you save up to 100 and you don't use these orbs, you know, that's really what's been able to help push my balance overall. The other key thing that's helped me kind of manage my funds is I follow the high roller milestones almost to a T. So I'll give you an example here. If you go hit the milestone selections, it basically walks you through all the different milestones you can earn every day. The high roller does refresh every single day, so that's why I've been able to keep track of how much I've been spending and using. If you hit go here under the high roller, these are different milestones that are achieved based on how much you spend for gold. And for me personally, I usually stop around milestone 10, which is the 1 million. The only time I go over this is if there's a special event that allows more character shards. And then you can see even then, the best bang for buck's actually stopping at milestone 15. Reason being is because it gives you all these different fragments as opposed to anything beyond that. You're not getting much for what you're spending. So I would highly recommend, once you get to a comfortable point, to aim for 1 million to 2.3. Otherwise, when you're starting off in the game, you just want to find that nice balance between a milestone for how much money you're actually getting. So in this case, when I was starting out, I was hovering anywhere from 650 to 825 a day and still saving those gold orbs. Once you get 100 gold orbs in the supply store, you can actually just open that up, and that greatly infuses economy into your game. So that's how I've been able to save a lot. As you can see, 62 million plus, and I've just been really using the milestones as my navigation in terms of when to spend, unless there is an event that is special, such as that Scarlet Spire event where we saw that with more training material spent, it actually did help your game progression. Next, we got the daily objectives. This is one of the best ways to actually get free-to-play characters in the sense that, these are limited, powerful characters. You can see right now we have Deathpool here, a top raid character in the game, and she's available right now via the Strike Pass. So how you push forward in the Strike Pass is going through your daily objectives day by day, and that allows you actually to generate these strike tokens here, as you can see. So that just involves you just going through and following these different quests each day. So for instance, playing 3 villain quests, playing 2 arena time battles, 2 battles in the arena, 3 hero missions, so forth. By doing so, that's actually going to translate to you getting the strike tokens, which then translate overall to you pushing forward in your Strike Pass progression, ultimately unlocking the free-to-play character. Next is the use of power cores. This is a heavy discussed item because how should you be actually using the power cores here? So first of all, never ever go to the supply store and use it on the actual fragment. So I'll show you an example here. Generally in the gold fragment of the store, they'll let you be able to purchase specific characters such as Spider-Punk, Sif, Mercenary. This refreshes every day, obviously, but you can see for 5 shards, it's for 450 power cores, and that to me is one of the biggest wastes, unless the only exception is if you have if you're a couple of fragments away from actually unlocking a character. That's the only time I would recommend actually using it here. Otherwise, if you got power cores, save it. There's a lot of good uses in the game that you can have for them, but one of the best ways to actually utilize power cores is definitely the campaign energy refresh. So by hitting the yellow thunderbolt at the very top here, you can see I have this other energy right now built up over time. This generates, but if this was not here, you can actually refresh for another 120 campaign energy for the purchase of 50 power cores. So that's why it's extremely important to understand when to use it, because this can really be pivotal when you're farming for specific character shards in anticipation of a new legendary character. So we're bound for a new one now in the coming months, so that's a good time to actually start saving power cores. Another good time to actually use the power cores is specific free-to-play campaign events. So every every 2 to 3 months, generally there is a character that comes out that you can farm actually via campaign, and that generates another energy in itself specifically for that event. Well, similar to this campaign energy, you would refresh the same way and use those extra energy to farm the fragments. So that's what I would do personally for the power cores. Otherwise, the only other instance, like I said, is farming a legendary node. So for instance, you can actually go to specific nodes and refresh. So if I finish farming Symbiote Spider-Man, you can actually refresh this by being able to pay the 50 power cores, and you can farm the node once again. Those would be my high recommendations for using power cores. Otherwise, try not to use it and build it over time, because it does become a very powerful currency if you know how to use it effectively. Another great tip is honestly just checking the supply store. This refreshes 3 times a day, and it can show you a boatload of benefits, but being able to look at this when you can allows you the opportunity to progress, because this is one of the few times in the game where you can actually selectively focus on what you need. So for instance, I'm building towards Dark Dimension 5 right now, so anything relating to Miasma and Astral Energy or other characters I need right now, I'm focused solely on them. So you can see here, this is what I'm purchasing right from the get-go if I can see it in my store. So what I would do is really review in terms of your inventory what you actually need. You know, is it the catalyst you can be purchasing? Obviously, there are some things that I would strongly recommend, which is the actual unique. So for instance, these guys here, these uniques, this superior titanium alloy, you know, these are hard to come by. Despite how many characters you may or may not use for it, there may be a character in the future release that needs it, right? So, and these are some of the hardest ways to actually get it, because they're not generally earned through farming specific campaign nodes. They can only be found in the store or in different orbs that you can push through. That being said, if you guys are curious how much you have, what you can actually do is go to the war store here, you hit orbs, and what you can actually do is you can open up this orb here, hit the eye for additional detail. Now I forget which specific one it was in, but I'm just checking here. So not this one, I'll check the right pillar. So it must be the left pillar. So when you hit the left pillar and you hit the gear drop, it can actually show you your inventory in terms of what you have. So for instance, if I wanted to know how much Astral I had, I would just click that and it shows me that I have 91 in inventory. So unfortunately, this is not a good way that's documented in the game right now, but this is a really simple way for you to quickly check, maybe keep a balance somewhere else on a spreadsheet, but that way you can ensure that you have a good idea in terms of how much you have, how much you need, especially once you push forward. There are certain uniques that are obviously more used in the game. That's why I brought up Miasma. It's, you know, this one specifically has some of the most powerful characters in the game, especially if you're starting out. Trust me, you want to be building superior Miasma as much as you can whenever you get a chance in the store. That being said, you know, the same tip goes for all the different variations of the story, which includes the Blitz store. You know, for instance, you want to be able to farm character shards on a day by day, especially when you're starting out. You know, characters such as Gamora and Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Well, guess what? They're all available in the Blitz store, and that refreshes 3 times a day. So ideally, you could be getting 50 shards per day for each of these characters if you're locked in and waiting on those refreshes to happen. Otherwise, you know, you can see you can also hit the power core refresh at the top. Again, I wouldn't recommend it unless you're really grinding for a legendary, but that is another way you can use the power cores in case you don't want to wait. You know, for instance, right now, time recording, we have 1 hour and 16 minutes before the next refresh. Same goes for Raid Store. You know, a really good store for overall for unlocking some of the powerful characters in the game. Baron's Evil is a good one when you're starting out in the game as well, but this is a really good one in terms of being able to look for specific purple and blue gear, because this refreshes quite a bit. And as you can see, anything that I have low on my balance here, I do just try to build it up over time, assuming I'm going to need it, right? So it's definitely a good way, especially with Raid credits actually being quite available once you actually progress in the game and you're continually doing raids on a day by day. You know, and then with the arena, you know, this one, with the exception of characters that you need to build up, the one I recommend is actually the L3 training module. We know training materials is one of the key constraints in the game, so that's why I try to push that up as much as I can, try to stockpile it. You know, otherwise I don't really have a need for the other characters in here, but you know, I would recommend you reviewing and seeing what you need in your roster in case there is any legendary requirement that you need potentially. War Store is one of the best stores for characters, but it's also one of the heaviest in terms of everything being pushed into here, and then you're never sure where you're gonna get, right? But for this store, I usually do try to focus on the uniques, and as well if there's specific character shards that I need. Otherwise, you know, the Dark Dimension 5 materials is for the teal gear is what I look at as well. And then promotion credits here. This is just casual. You actually need upgrades, but I wouldn't focus on this right now. I would save up the credits if you can. And then same with the ISO 8, I would actually just try to purchase items that are low. So in this case, you know, that one, anything below 300, 400 for me is what I aim for. Keep in mind, you guys, we have challenges every day. There should be 3 per day that you can reach. Try to push these out as much as you can each day, because, you know, this over time is going to build up materials and your stock of inventory. And this includes, you know, gold, training materials, ability enhancements, the, you know, blitz energy to actually go through and push that forward more. You know, so this is a really good one. Make sure you're checking this each day, because this is extremely important to actually capitalize on this free-to-play materials. Lastly, events. Making sure that you look through the events. You know, when you go through event selection, you can actually get a preview of what's to come. So you can see here the release of Jubilee is coming. As you can see, there's a preview coming, and you can see that there's also a Pimtech 2X shards coming as well. So these are the payday events that's coming, Chaos Dairy, so forth. By knowing and anticipating what events are coming, we can better prepare, and that's really key, especially when you're in the end game and you're trying to identify, you know, what is coming in the meta and what's changing in terms of how you should be preparing your roster. Last but not least, you guys, I want to wrap this quick video up. It's always difficult to talk about specific characters and which ones you should build. That's going to be a separate video on itself. But, you know, what I found is a really good navigation as a to-do if you're always unsure which character or if they're even worth bringing, is check the Dark Dimension 4 and check Dark Dimension 5, the leaderboard. So what you can do is when you go through the nodes here, even if you haven't unlocked this mode, you're still able to view it, right? I hit the little bar graph here below. You can see that it actually does show you the characters that previous players have used to unlock. So this actually helps me prepare and plan in terms of, you know, which characters to bring in progression wise, and you can check this for each node. So if you're ever unsure which characters to build in the long term and you need someone that's quick, a quick reference, want to go through Reddit or ask another player, well, guess what, you do have a navigation here in terms of which characters have been used by other players consistently. Then you can do a checklist then of which ones have shown to be successful, and then that's the characters I would recommend. So you can see there's a lot of endgame characters here, but this is really pivotal because maybe you're a new player and you're overwhelmed by how many characters are in the game, and you just want a simple check to see if they're actually even used in the endgame. So that's what I would recommend. You just going through there and using Reddit, because the last thing you want is to invest in a character that's not even used in the end game. That's really pivotal because at this point you're going to be very constrained for training materials and gold. So that's why I would recommend you guys doing research. So I hope these tips and tricks do help you guys out, push you forward in your progression. Thank you as always, and I'll see you guys in the next one.